Hello, Michael here. Looking today at Psalm 75 for our exposition, a psalm which may be subtitled, God Will Judge with Equity. And we're focusing on the first 4 verses for the exposition. Let's go ahead and read those 4 verses. Verse 1. Unto thee, O God, do we give thanks. Unto thee do we give thanks. For that thy name is near, thy wondrous works declare. Verse 2. When I shall receive the congregation, I will judge uprightly. Verse 3. The earth and all the inhabitants thereof are dissolved. I bear up the pillars of it. Selah. And verse 4. I said unto the fools, deal not foolishly, and to the wicked, lift up not the horn. Or lift not up the horn. And so let's turn to the treasury of David for the exposition. Let's go ahead and read verse 1 again. Unto thee, O God, do we give thanks. Unto thee do we give thanks. For that thy name is near, thy wondrous works declare. Unto thee, O God, do we give thanks. Not to ourselves, for we were helpless, but to Elohim, who heard our cry, and replied to the taunt of our foes. Never let us neglect thanksgiving, or we may fear that another time our prayer will remain unanswered. As the smiling flowers gratefully reflect in their lovely colors the various constituents of the solar ray, so should gratitude spring up in our hearts after the smiles of God's providence. Unto thee do we give thanks. We should praise God again and again. Stinted gratitude is ingratitude. For infinite goodness there should be measureless thanks. Faith promises redoubled praise for greatly needed and signaled deliverances. For that thy name is near, thy wondrous works declare. God is at hand to answer and do wonders. Adore we then the present deity. We sing not of a hidden God, who sleeps and leaves the church to her fate, but of one who ever in our darkest days is most near, a very present help in trouble. Near is his name. Baal is on a journey, but Jehovah dwells in his church. Glory be unto the Lord, whose perpetual deeds of grace and majesty are the sure tokens of his being with us always, even unto the ends of the world. And verse 2 that reads, When I shall receive the congregation, I will judge uprightly. When I shall receive the congregation, I will judge uprightly. This is generally believed to be the voice of God, who will, when he accepts his people, mount his judgment seat and avenge their cause in righteousness. It is rendered by some, I will take a set time, and by others, I will seize the moment. God never is before his time. He's never too late. He determines the period of interposition, and when that arrives, swift are his blows and sure are his deliverances. God sends no delegated judge, but sits himself upon the throne. O Lord, let thy set time come for grace. Tarry no longer, but for the truth and the throne of Jesus be thou speedily at work. Let the appointed Aziz come, O Jesus, and sit thou on thy throne to judge the world in equity. And verse 3, The earth and all the inhabitants thereof are dissolved. I bear up the pillars of it. Selah. The earth and all the inhabitants thereof are dissolved. When anarchy is abroad, and tyrants are in power, everything is unloosed. Dissolution threatens all things. The solid mountains of government melt as wax. but even then the Lord upholds and sustains the right. I bear up the pillars of it. Hence there is no real cause for fear. While the pillars stand, and stand they must, for God upholds them, the house will brave out the storm. In the day of the Lord's appearing, a general melting will take place. But in that day our covenant God will be the sure support of our confidence. How can I sink with such a prop as my eternal God, who bears the earth's huge pillars up and spreads the heavens abroad? Selah. Here may the music pause, while the sublime vision passes before our view. A world dissolved, and an immutable God uplifting all his people above the terrible commotion. In verse 4, I said unto the fools, deal not foolishly, and to the wicked, lift not up the horn. I said unto the fools, deal not foolishly. The Lord bids the boasters boast not, and commands the mad oppressors to stay their folly. How calm is he, how quiet are his words, yet how divine the rebuke. If the wicked were not insane, they would even now hear in their conscience the still small voice bidding them cease from evil and forbear their pride. And to the wicked, lift not up the horn. He bids the ungodly stay their haughtiness. The horn was the emblem of boastful power. Only the foolish, like wild and savage beasts, will lift it high. But they assail heaven itself with it, as if they would gore the Almighty himself. In dignified majesty, he rebukes the inane glories of the wicked, who beyond measure exalt themselves in the day of their fancied power. Oh man, some people just are foolish. They're just prideful, boastful, and still foolish. If you listen to them talk, their dots don't connect ever. Once you start agreeing with them, oh man, you slid on a banana peel. Just to enjoy the meditation. Michael here declaring yet again, Jesus is Lord. Until next time, be blessed.